Hello, today we're going to discuss about when your children don't respect you, do this instead, 6 powerful ways to regain respect. Before we go into detail, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us continue bringing you useful and meaningful content every week now. In this video, you're going to learn exactly why respect often fades between aging parents and their adult children, how this emotional distance slowly builds without you noticing, and more importantly, what you can do today to reverse that trend and restore not only respect, but deep emotional connection. We're going to explore 6 real strategies that work, not theory, not fluffy advice, but actions that have helped countless people just like you. If you've ever felt invisible in your child's life, or like your voice no longer matters, this is the video for you. You raised them, loved them, sacrificed so much, and now that they're older, it feels like they barely listen. Maybe they talk over you, maybe they dismiss your suggestions, maybe they're constantly irritated or impatient when you speak, and deep down it hurts. It makes you question yourself and feel powerless. But here's the truth: respect doesn't just disappear overnight. It's often chipped away through patterns and behaviors that become so familiar we stop seeing them. But the good news is it can be rebuilt, not by begging, not by scolding, and certainly not by suffering in silence, but by doing things differently and with intention. The first powerful way to regain respect is to stop over-explaining yourself. Yes, you heard that right. Many aging parents fall into the trap of justifying every decision or opinion they share, hoping their kids will understand or approve. But what actually happens is the opposite. It makes you seem unsure of yourself and invites criticism. Instead, speak simply and directly, say what you think, and leave it at that. You don't need to prove yourself. Every time your quiet confidence will say more than 1,000 explanations ever could. Second, embrace boundaries, not just theirs, but yours too. One of the most common reasons adult children lose respect is because the boundaries with their parents remain blurry long after they become adults. Maybe you're still giving unsolicited advice or stepping in where it's no longer needed, or maybe you allow them to overstep your own boundaries. You let them talk disrespectfully or make demands without consequences. Every time you allow that, you silently tell them it's okay. But when you start showing you have limits and you respect yourself first, they follow your lead. Stop picking up their slack. Don't tolerate being shouted at. Don't rearrange your life for their convenience unless it's mutual. When they see you protect your dignity, they're forced to reassess how they treat you. Third, upgrade your self-image. This may sound superficial, but hear me out. We teach people how to treat us partly by how we present ourselves. When you allow yourself to be seen as outdated, helpless, or stuck in the past, your children may unconsciously begin to treat you as someone irrelevant. Start investing in yourself, not just your appearance, but your interests, your hobbies, your physical health. Read books, update your wardrobe, walk with purpose, learn new things. When your children see you as someone evolving rather than shrinking, they will be more inclined to listen, respect, and even admire you. Again, you're showing them that aging isn't they, and it's a different kind of power. Fourth, shift the emotional balance. Many parents constantly give emotionally, always being there, always checking, and always offering support, but rarely receiving anything in return. This creates an imbalance that actually reduces respect because it makes you look emotionally needy instead of emotionally strong. Stop chasing emotional crumbs. Stop asking why they haven't called or visited. Instead, invest that energy in friendships, personal goals, or community. When you become less emotionally dependent on them, they will sense that shift, and you'll suddenly find them reaching out more often. Respect grows when you stop begging for connection and start radiating emotional independence. Fifth, change how you communicate. Many misunderstandings between parents and adult children come from outdated communication styles. Maybe you still speak to them like they're younger, or maybe you use guilt or emotional pressure without realizing it. Instead, start practicing assertive yet kind communication. State how you feel without blaming. Use phrases like "I feel disrespected when this happens," or "I prefer if we talk calmly," rather than "Why do you always ignore me?" or "I can't believe you treat me this way." These subtle changes disarm defensive reactions and open space for real dialogue. If you want to be heard and respected, you must speak in ways that make listening easy. Sixth, and perhaps most powerful, is to let go of the old emotional scorecard. The one where you count all the things you've done for them and how little they do in return. This scorecard quietly poisons your interactions. It creates expectations, and when those aren't met, you feel resentful, but they don't even know they're being measured. Instead, let go of those tallies. Don't give with strings attached. Give because you choose to give, and if it doesn't feel good, don't do it. Your worth is not in how much you've sacrificed, it's in who you are. When you stop being emotionally reactive and start being Emotionally grounded, you rise above the cycle and become someone impossible not to respect now. Let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Regaining respect from your children is not about controlling them or demanding. It's about becoming a version of yourself they naturally want to respect. It's about creating space for new dynamics to form. Yes, it takes time, and yes, it takes patience, but every shift you make ripples outward. They may not notice right away, but they will over time, especially when they see that you're not waiting for their approval. You're rebuilding your own inner strength. And as you grow in confidence, clarity, and calmness, they will too. Maybe they'll never say it out loud, but they'll feel it. And slowly, you'll see it in how they speak to you, how they listen, and how they value your presence. Again, and underestimate the power of quiet transformation. Sometimes it's not the words you say, but the energy you carry that changes everything. When you start respecting yourself on a deep level, your world starts shifting. In unexpected ways, relationships realign, new respect flows, and old wounds begin to heal, and you no longer live in the shadow of who you were, but in the power of who you are becoming. And that is a force far greater than control, far greater than fear. That is real influence and real peace. So remember, stop over-explaining, embrace your boundaries, upgrade your self-image, balance the emotional scales, communicate clearly, and let go of the old scorecard. Do these not to manipulate, but to liberate both yourself and your relationships. The journey isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. And as you walk this path, you'll find that respect once lost can absolutely be found again, not just from your children, but from yourself. And that's the deepest healing of all. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to leave a like and comment your thoughts down below. Every interaction helps our channel grow and reach more people just like you who are looking for strength, clarity, and support. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Stay strong, stay grounded, and never forget your value only grows with time. Too often we underestimate the impact our energy has on how people respond to us. Your children especially pick up not just on your words, but your emotional state, your tone, your body language. And if they sense desperation, disappointment, or frustration in your every interaction, they may unconsciously distance themselves, not to hurt you, but to protect their own peace. That's why reclaiming respect starts on the inside. It's about finding your own emotional center again, because when you're grounded, others naturally meet you there. When you walk into a room with calm confidence without needing to prove anything, that's when they begin to lean and not pull away. There's also a deep need to shift how we perceive authority. In aging, in many families, the traditional structure collapses. Once children become independent, parents who once held all the power now feel powerless. But that's only if you define power as control. Real power in this new chapter comes from wisdom, presence, and emotional clarity. When you stop trying to parent your adult children and instead start relating to them as fellow adults, the game changes. Speak to them with the respect you expect from them. Show them you can hold your own emotionally, not react to every slight or disappointment, not guilt them into love, but live with intention and self-worth. Sometimes the lack of respect you feel is actually a reflection of unresolved history. Maybe there were mistakes, misunderstandings, or moments from the past that still shape how your children see you. But instead of forcing them to forget or constantly asking for recognition, take a different approach. Acknowledge the past if needed, but don't live in it. More importantly, show them who you are now. Actions over arguments. If you want them to see you differently, you must show up differently. Be the calm in their storm, not another storm in their life. They will feel that shift even if they don't immediately express it. Another often ignored factor is presence. How present are you? When you're with your children, are you truly listening or waiting to speak? Are you stuck in the past or meeting them where there now? Respect grows in the space of genuine presence. Sometimes it means less talking and more listening. Sometimes it means accepting their choices without critique. Even when you disagree, respect doesn't mean approval. It means honoring their autonomy. As much as you want yours to be honored, the more you show maturity in your reactions, the more likely they are to match that maturity. And we have to talk about self-care, because it's not just a buzzword, it's a statement of value. When you stop taking care of yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically, you slowly send a message that you're no longer worth prioritizing, and others may unconsciously follow that cue. Flip that script. Take care of your health, pursue your passions, find things that bring you joy outside of your family dynamic. Your vitality, your curiosity, your enthusiasm for life will draw people to you, including your children. When you become someone who inspires instead of someone who complains, they start to respect not just your age, but your example. If you're in a situation where your children are openly disrespectful, you must stop tolerating it. Yes, they are your children. Yes, you love them. But love is not licensed for emotional mistreatment. Calmly, but firmly name the behavior and make it clear it's not acceptable. You don't need to yell or argue, simply state your truth and step back. It's okay to create space from toxic patterns, even if they come from family. Sometimes that distance is exactly what's needed for perspective and growth. Never believe that you must endure disrespect to keep the peace. Peace built on silence is not peace, it's quiet suffering. As hard as it may sound, sometimes the best way to regain respect is to stop trying to be needed so much. Many older parents tie their identity to being useful, helpful, always available, but that can create imbalance and resentment. When your children feel you're inserting yourself too much, start stepping back, let them miss. You let them experience life without your constant input. You don't disappear, you evolve. You show them that your life is full with or without them. And in doing so, you give them the gift of choosing to connect out of love, not obligation. And that's when real respect is born. Every relationship has seasons, and it's okay if the season you're in right now feels cold, distant, or painful. The important thing is to recognize that seasons change, and you have the power to influence that change, not through force, but through personal growth, through inner work, through becoming someone even you are proud to be. Sometimes your children need time to see that sometimes they need to grow up emotionally too, but your job is not to wait in pain, it's to live in purpose. And in time, they will come around, or if they don't, you will still be whole. Remember, respect is not something you chase, it's something you embody when you walk with dignity, speak with intention and love. Without losing yourself, you become someone impossible to dismiss. It might take time for others to catch up to who you've become, but that's okay. Your growth is not dependent on their pace, and your worth is not tied to their praise. It's rooted in your own quiet power, and that is something no one can take away from you. Keep rising, keep healing, and most importantly, keep respecting yourself. The rest will follow. In time, sometimes quietly, sometimes suddenly, but always surely if you stay true to yourself and lead with love and strength combined. And let's not ignore how culture and expectations play into this. Many parents grew up believing that age alone guarantees respect, and in an ideal world that would be true, but the reality is we live in a different time where mutual respect must be earned and continuously nurtured, not through authority, but through emotional intelligence. It's not about demanding respect, it's about inspiring it, and that comes from how you live, how you talk, and how you show up in your relationships. Your children may have changed, but that doesn't mean your influence is gone. It just means the way you express it must evolve too. When was the last time you genuinely complimented your child, not for what they do, but for who they are? Not as a strategy to get something back, but simply because you see them often. We forget that adults still crave affirmation. And if your relationship has become strained, one of the fastest ways to soften the walls is through genuine recognition. When your words become a place of warmth, not judgment, you start to create safety, and from safety, respect begins to grow again. You don't lose power by appreciating them. You gain influence by showing emotional maturity. Also, consider the way you talk about yourself in front of them or even around others. Do you constantly put yourself down? Do you speak as if your best years are behind you, or as if you're a burden to be managed? Because they absorb that energy and begin to reflect it back. If you present yourself as invisible, they will treat you that way. If you want respect, it starts by respecting yourself in every sentence you say, and how you walk, and how you sit at the table, and how you show up for yourself. The energy you carry teaches people how to treat you more than any speech ever could. There's also power in surprise, doing something unexpected, trying something new that breaks their mental image of you. It could be as small as joining a new class, starting a hobby, traveling alone, volunteering, learning something digital they never thought you would. When you surprise your children in positive ways, it forces them to update their perception of you. And sometimes that's the jolt the relationship needs. It reminds them that you are a full human, not just a parent frozen in the past. And that realization can open the door to new kinds of respect and connection. Now, let's talk about silence, because silence is a double-edged sword. Sometimes it's wisdom, sometimes it's surrender. If you're always silent in the face of disrespect, you're not being strong. You're teaching them it's okay to ignore your voice. But if your silence is strategic, if it's the calm before a clear boundary being set, then it's power. Learn to use your silence wisely. Speak when it matters, hold your ground when it counts, but don't remain quiet just to keep the peace at the cost of your self-worth. Speak with clarity, not volume, and your words will carry more weight. You also have to stop measuring your value based on how often they call, visit, or thank you. Yes, Attention feels good, yes, recognition matters, but when you live for those moments, you give away your power. Instead, build a life so full that their presence is a blessing, not a necessity. Reconnect with old friends, build community, find laughter, purpose, and energy outside your family tree. When they see you thriving, they'll realize you're not waiting for their approval, you're living on your own terms, and that's when they'll start to respect you, not because they feel guilty, but because they admire your strength. One of the greatest mistakes aging parents make is trying to fix everything, be the mediator, the rescuer, the fixer, especially when adult children make poor choices. But here's a truth that brings respect. Let them fail. If they must be there with support, but not with solutions, let them live their own stories. Because when you step back with faith instead of stepping in with control, you give them the gift of responsibility, and your calm presence during their storm will often speak louder then any advice you could give. Respect grows when you trust others to navigate their lives and finally choose your peace over their approval. You've spent years parenting, guiding, sacrificing, and caring. Now it's time to prioritize your own emotional health. If a conversation drains you, limit it. If a pattern repeats, hurt, limit it. If they continue treating you as less than you are, then rise above, not out of pride, but self-love. Live in a way that radiates quiet strength and peace that does not depend on others doing the right thing, but on you choosing your own path. Their respect may return one day, or it may not, but your self-respect must never leave you. Remember, it's not about fixing them, it's about freeing yourself and becoming someone who commands respect, not by asking for it, but by living it day by day through your choices, your tone, your energy, and your boundaries. Be that example, be that calm, be that strength, and watch how everything begins to shift, even if slowly, even if subtly, because when you change the energy you bring into the room, the entire room changes. And sometimes all it takes is one person standing in their truth to awaken change in the hearts around them. Let that person be you.